few days. So let me just move my chat back over. Okay. My computer's slow. Our agenda today, we're going to talk about Cami and OCR really quickly, and then give an overview of the Cami toolbar. We'll talk about converting a PDF to OCR, which is part of the integration with Canvas, so it takes out a million steps. And then we'll talk about the Cami Canvas integration, and then have questions or tips if you use Cami, which I think some of you already have been. So if you can mute your audio during the presentation, that'd be great. You can use the chat to ask questions. I don't see Julie yet, so I'm just going to monitor both. And Peggy was this morning. So Mara will be monitoring it. Your video camera is optional. You can turn it off if that helps with our connection speed, but since I'm on the phone, it won't really matter. Okay, oh, here we go. I want to do a quick poll. Oh man, because I'm logged in from another device, my polling is inactive. We can't do that. Is there anyone here who has never used Cami before? You can just raise your hand. Okay, no worries. We'll do a quick overview of the Cami toolbar. I'm not gonna go.
I have tried to use it, but it was really weird and I was like, I don't get this, so I left. But I have attempted, but I really don't understand.
No worries. We'll do both. We'll talk about the integration first, and then go through, look at the tools from there. So Cami, originally we got it so that we could integrate, or so that we could convert PDFs to OCR, and OCR stands for optical character recognition. So when you scan a document using the scanner, what it does is it's really taking a picture of the text on the page, and that text is not readable by read aloud tools like Read and Write or the built-in Chromebook reader, because it doesn't, that picture doesn't contain any digital text or characters. So when you scan something, it's taken a picture, it's not actually reading what's on that page. So when we OCR a document, it's scanned and converted to digital text so that you can read that text on the page. So Read and Write will be able to read it. The built-in reader on the Chromebooks can read it, and the text is actually recognized. So if you use Read and Write for Google, that actually won't convert a PDF into OCR. So that's kind of it's a bummer that that's not a built-in feature. But if you use Read and Write, it will tell you, and this is what it looks like down here, it'll tell you that it's not OCR. However, Cami, when you open a PDF in Cami, it will give you this text box right here that says, this seems like a scanned PDF, would you like to add the text? And then we can run OCR on that PDF. So the original use of Cami was to convert PDFs to OCR so that that text is recognized. However, with the new Canvas integration, it does this for us inside of Canvas. So we don't have to open that PDF ahead of time, click OCR, resave that document, upload that document to Canvas. So it's cutting out all those steps. The Cami Canvas integration, it requires two things. It requires a premium account to Cami, which you have till the end of the school year. Students also have till the end of the school year. It also requires that all your documents, like your PDFs, are saved in your Google Drive. So if you spent a lot of time as a social studies department at Mount Lake Terrace uploading all of your PDFs to Canvas, that is no longer necessary. They just need to be in your Google Drive now. So Chris, I'm so glad you're here. Bad news, you don't have to do that anymore. Bad and good news. Sorry for all the time we wasted. And the really nice thing about the Canvas integration is that it's under the submission type and external tools. So if you've ever used any of those Canvas integrations like Google Cloud Assignment, WAMAP, there's a bunch of different integrations there. It lives in the same spot. And I'll show you what that looks like on Canvas, but we just click on submission type, we click Cami Google Drive, we find that PDF, and it's there.
So I know you had asked, or this came up this morning at our meeting, but what's the likelihood that that paid version continues then? Because
yes, that is a great question, Chris. I asked.
You're saving me time until June, but do I get to keep that next year?
Oh, that's a great question, Chris. I asked this morning about that with the instructional tech team, and we don't make the decisions about tech subscriptions. We have a very strong influence on text subscriptions because we are the ones working with the teachers, showing them how to use this and how to teach the students how to use them. So I am advocating strongly. Oh, there's the doorbell. Open Canvas, get to this submission type. I'll be right back. Yes, there you go, sir. Thank you. Okay, I'm back. I am advocating strongly that we are right now looking at these tools very closely and figuring out what teachers are using, what is going to be useful going forward, and really committing to that. Right now, the bigger discussion is especially on like LMSs, like Canvas for the younger grades. So, you know, funding Google Classroom, funding Seesaw. At the secondary level, it is going to strongly determine or be determined by teachers using these tools and advocating for these tools. So I can't guarantee anything. I will tell you that I am strongly advocating. If you can be involved in your tech levy school like committee, that committee makes a lot of decisions on how your tech levy money is spent at your school as well. So it could be something that's funded just at your school level as well. So not a clear answer, but I promise I'm advocating for the tools that I think teachers want to use and that teachers tell me they want to use. Okay, Kami and Canvas for students. So when students, if you put an assignment on Kami or on Canvas, that's a Kami integration, students will have to sign in with their Google account and allow permissions the first time. This is the same with the free account for Kami. The difference is that they do not have to download that PDF and then submit to Canvas. There's just a submit button that they click and it will automatically submit to Canvas. If a student wants to update their submission, they have to click unsubmit and then resubmit again. And what that looks like for you in the speed grader on Canvas is just multiple submissions. Just like other assignments where students might resubmit a Google Doc again or resubmit a file, it will just look like multiple submissions. When you use this integration, what Kami is actually going to do is it's going to create a folder in your Google Doc called Kami. Within that folder will be your Canvas course, a folder with your Canvas course name. Within that folder will be the assignment name, so a folder with the assignment name. And then within that are your actual student PDFs. So if I assign a Kami assignment using the integration, Kami automatically puts a folder, one folder the first time in your drive called Kami, and then it will contain your courses, your Canvas courses where you use it, the assignment that you created it, and then all of the student submissions. You can click and open one of these submissions, and they're not submissions, they're active documents. So as soon as student 2 opened that assignment and opened Kami, it has their name attached. I can open this student 2 assignment, see what they've done so far, see how it's going, moderate what's happening, and work alongside the student 2. So if you don't want students to submit yet and you want to just be able to see what's happening on that PDF, you can view, you can add comments, you can annotate as well. And so this Google folder is really how you moderate as the assignment is going on before they finally submit it on Canvas. So this would all be pre the submit button. Once a student has submitted that actual assignment, then it shows up in your speed grader. So I'll show you what that looks like as well. So I'm just going to walk you through the steps and then I'll show you some examples. So if I'm in this module and I want to add an assignment, session example, I'm going to name that assignment. I'm going to click on the title to edit it and click edit. And I would still give directions, but the students aren't downloading anything. So I would just say, follow the directions on the PDF, open it in Kami, and click the submit button when finished. So I wouldn't actually put the PDF anywhere here. I would just put in the directions here, I'm going to go down to submission type, click external tools. I click find. This is where I find Cami. And then this opens up my Google Drive. So now I'm actually looking for that PDF in my Google Drive that I want to add. And it's just a little bit slow. If you've never used Cami before, you will also have to allow permission. The permissions you have to allow seem a little intimidating because there's lots of them. But the reason is because it has so many integrations. So it integrates with Google Classroom, with Seesaw, with Canvas. So it's a pretty hefty permission. So I can make this a little bit bigger so I can see what's happening in here. And I'm going to go in and find, actually, I'm just going to put this Aztec reading in there and select. And then I click select again, and here's that document. So to leave this here, this is how the actual external tool is linking to Canvas. You have this check button here. If you check this, the students will click a link and that will open Cami. So it will open Cami in an external window. If you don't check this, then it will just be inside your Canvas page. So that's just kind of up to your preference. If it's a long PDF or a large assignment, I would check this box so that it opens in Cami so they can see it better and have more access to the tools, just because the Chromebook screen is pretty small. But if it's just a pretty simple assignment, you can just uncheck that. And I'll show you what it looks like both ways. So I'm not going to check that. I'm going to assign it to my students just like a normal assignment and click Save and Publish. What is really nice about this integration is that your view on your teacher computer is the exact same as the student view on their Chromebook. So I'm going to show you what that looks like from the student view, but it's the same. So this is actually just a scanned PDF from a textbook from World History 9. And so right here is where I see that Cami recognizes this is a scanned PDF. I did not run OCR on it. So I can click Run OCR. It will take a few minutes to run OCR. And then that document is automatically OCR'd for all my students as well. So students don't have to download it, run OCR. If their teacher hasn't done that yet, it will just automatically be OCR'd for their students. And then it just reloads the doc. Okay, so because I didn't check that box, it's opening Cami just within Canvas, which is fine. But if it is a bigger PDF, you would want to check that box so Cami just opens separately. So this is the teacher view. This is what I am seeing. And then I'm going to show you what a student sees. So here's a student in my course. I'm going to click on that assignment. It's going to take a minute to load. So here's a student the first time logging in with Canvas. They have to log in with their Google account. I'm going to choose my Google account. This is the permissions that they have to allow. And so you have to allow Cami to add itself to the Google Drive because they get the same folders that you do. So they'll get a Cami folder, the Canvas course name, the assignment name, and then their personal PDF inside that folder. So I have to allow permissions. And then I have to authorize Google Drive. And this is only the very first time that students log into Cami. And I picked a fake student on purpose that hadn't. So you can see what this process is for students who've never used it before. And then it's going to load the file. And K-12, I'm a student, and finish. So the very first time they do have to click through quite a few times if they've never used it before. I will make a video that shows that for students that you could share with them, just because it is quite a few clicks. So here's the PDF. Again, this isn't a great PDF example because it doesn't have directions or activities that they're supposed to be doing, but I wanted to show you that OCR feature. So now that I'm in the Cami toolbar, or in the Cami program within Canvas, I can use all the tools over here. And just a quick overview of the tools. The main tools that are really useful for annotating are the markup tools, where I can text highlight, I can box highlight, I can strike through, I can underline. So what that might look like is I can select some text on the page. Let me just select some here, and it will highlight that text. I can box highlight to highlight like a whole section, oops, a whole section of text. I can strike through text and underline. I can also change the colors. The text box right here allows me to actually write text directly on the PDF. So if I wanted to put my name up here, I can do that. I get like a whole toolbar that I can use to edit that. So I can change the font size, all of that stuff. So as a teacher, you would use that to create a PDF or to edit a PDF before your students are using it. So if you have a reading and you want to add directions to it, that sort of thing, you can use those tools for that. Kami also lets you create from a blank page, and you have like a lined paper, a graph paper, a blank paper. So you could create your own custom PDF as well using Kami. The tools are the same whether you're a student or a teacher. So just know that your students see the same thing that you do. There's also some really cool equation tools. So there's a whole scientific calculator here. And there's music notes for music teachers if you wanted to create a worksheet or just a PDF for students using that. There's also a draw tool, so I can just draw directly on the PDF. And again, I'm using a mouse, so it's not super great drawing, but it works. There's some shapes as well, so I can insert a shape. And these were really created for math teachers because they do include like the angles on them. And then erase. I can also insert an image. This is a child-safe Google search for images. So I can click Google search and I can add an image directly to the PDF. I can also like annotate on top of that image as well. So if you had like Dana in your class, you might insert like the earth and then be able to draw directly on top of that as well. But my computer's pretty slow. We'll give it a second. Are there any questions right now? I can pause for some questions.
Yeah, I was wondering if the document is so buried when the kids open it and they have their own document, how easy is it for them to find it again?
That's a good question. So they could just go back to the Canvas assignment and it's the same document for them. So it auto saves everything.
So if they click that again, they don't get a new document. They just go to the same.
It's exactly like the Google Cloud assignments where it's making its own personal copy for the students inside of Canvas. So it's the same one. If they annotate, it auto saves anything. So if they closed Canvas, open the assignment again, it would all show up the same.
Ah, okay. Thank you.
Yep. I'm going to refresh because my computer's pretty slow. So I just refreshed my page, Dana, and didn't change anything, and it's all still there. So one tool that is really nice that the social studies teachers have been using for a long time is to comment. So under comment, you can leave a text comment, a voice comment, or a video comment. And this was really useful for giving feedback or for annotating on like a reading. So if I wanted to leave a comment about that line, it highlights the line and then gives me this comment space right here. So I can leave a video comment and a text comment or an audio comment. I can also voice type, so I can just say it out loud and it will add the text in for me. And previously, we'd have to download this, flatten our comments. There was a lot of extra steps. I did this session last Thursday and they didn't know about this and everyone left like, well, I'm never gonna use Kami. So this feature now, having the integration, makes all of this so much easier. So I could also do an audio comment if I wanted to highlight. Oh, this is a little bit hard to select with a mouse. Let's see. So I selected a ton of text and then it's loading the audio comment for me just to record directly. And I think my computer's just a little bit slow. So the toolbar is, oh, I had to allow, here we go. The toolbar is the same. Let's leave an audio comment here. So it's just recording my voice on the audio comment. I can press stop and then it'll be right there. So your student does all the annotations, they're finished with the assignment, and then when they're ready to submit and you want to grade it, they just click this submit button right here. So they get a submit button. It says that there's one unsaved change. So Kami auto saves. It's not always instantaneous. And so this has yet to save one more thing. So I can click Save Now if I just want to ensure that all of my annotations are saved. So all changes have been saved. I now click the Submit button. Once they click Submit, that will show up in your speed grader. If they wanted to make any changes, and I'll let this load so you can see that. So if they open this assignment again, it would say Done right here. If they clicked on the Done button, they would see this Unsubmit. So if they wanted to update anything after they've submitted the first time, they would click Unsubmit, they would do their updates, and then they'd go back in and click Submit. And that's where it shows up as 2 different submissions on your speed grader. So I'm going to show you what that looks like from the teacher side now. I'm going to close this. So as the teacher, I open that assignment. I can click Speed Grader right here on the right side. And this will open up my speed grader for this assignment. And it's just loading again. So I can click that drop down arrow to see that only student 4 has submitted this assignment, and it's ungraded with that yellow dot or orange dot. And then I can see their annotations. I can also hover over their annotation to see who did it. So their initials show up right here. And because these are fake students, it's just SO. If I hover again over that, I can see their name, which this student is just named Student 04. And then as the teacher, I can also add annotations. I can change any of the stuff that I want to on the PDF. The student would be able to see that, but they'd have to unsubmit if they want to respond to those annotations. I can also see any comments that they leave. So I can see a written comment, I can play their audio comment. I would also see a video comment here as well. And then because they clicked that unsubmit and submit again, I can click to see the 2 submissions, and Canvas will tell me that it's not the most recent submission. So I can look through both of those. This is where I would give them like a final grade on this assignment and add any assignment comments that I want onto that assignment. So the easy part of this is that it's just a 1-click submit button for students now instead of having to download and then re-upload that to Canvas again like it was before. And I want to show you one other example. Let's see. Is there any questions? Nothing?
Yeah, I have one.
Okay, go ahead. And then
So
Stacey.
So the resubmitting, can you do that with just general, like I've been trying to do things where kids are looking at things, making changes and then resubmitting, but I've been making an entirely new assignment. Could they resubmit in the old assignment and it would also be that stacked one assignment and then the next?
Yeah. So if you had an assignment where you said, I want you to work on this, submit your assignment on Canvas, I'm going to look them over, and then you're going to resubmit like the second draft or something. You could do that all within one assignment so that you don't have to create a new assignment. You would just want to really clarify, like, submit by Friday, your first version. Next Friday, we're going to add some things and then resubmit again. So as the teacher, that would just be you having to click through the different submissions. So submission to view, you would look here to see which submission you want to look at.
Got it.
So this assignment, I checked that box to open in an external page when I set up the assignment in Canvas. And so this is what it looks like for students. So it says this tool needs to be uploaded in a new browser. They click this button and that just opens the CAMI website for them. It's still the same for the student. They still would have that submit button right here that's still integrated with Canvas. So they still would not have to go in and download or anything. It's still all integrated. It's just opening Canvas in a new page for them. So it's a little easier to read. And then with the speed grader for that original assignment, so for this one, I submitted it as a student just to show you that you can also, students could also do a video submission, a video comment, and then as the teacher, I can just click play. I can then also just respond directly to that comment. So before you do a submission in Canvas, you can also just access that PDF through your Google Drive folder and add any like feedback that you want to students there. So you kind of have two places. If they don't click submit yet, then it won't show up in SpeedGrader, but you can still access through your Drive. And I can show you what that looks like too, if you'd like, how it looks in your Drive. Let me just show you. So if I open up my Drive, I get this Cami folder right here. I click on Cami. I've only done this in one of my courses, which is just a coaching course. It doesn't have, it's not a Skyward course. So I click on my course name. Here are the assignments I've done so far, and then I have some template assignments as well. So I can click on that name, and then these are the students that have opened that PDF and started working on it. So I can click on this, and I'm gonna open with Cami. Because as teachers, we have lots of different tools that we can open PDFs with. You just wanna make sure that you're opening that PDF with Cami, because that's what the assignment was on Canvas, was the Cami integration. So if I open this with Cami, it will show me what the student has done so far on that PDF. And so this is where I could actually add to this PDF, add comments or annotations, and the student hasn't submitted it yet. In the bottom right corner, you see these two initials. So it has my initials, and then it has a little green dot, and that means that I'm actively on this document right now. It also has the student's initials, and they're not active on this document now. But anything I add to this would show up on the student's assignment in Canvas. Other questions?
Mara, I have a question. So I'm not, anyway, I have a question.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when you, like in your Drive, when you had the PDF and you right clicked and said open with Cami,
Yes.
would that be the easiest way to actually convert the PDFs to OCR? I mean, separately, not looking at the student assignment, like if I just wanted to post notes or something in Canvas calendar, I don't want to actually make it an assignment. Like I post the notes that we take in class, but I make them a PDF. Is that the way, is that the easiest way to turn a PDF into Cami, is open with Cami?
Yeah. Yeah. So if I can show you an example of that. So if I took this, let's see, if I took this Atlas Exploration, was that the original one I used? I don't want to, I want to show you one that's not Atlas Reading. Okay. So if I took that Atlas Exploration and I right click and click open with Cami, this one I think is not OCR, so you can see what that would look like. So it opens with Cami, it gives me that notification. I'm gonna run OCR on it. And then there is one extra step, Susan, that's really helpful, so that you can like remember which ones you've already OCR'd, is that once it's done, up here, it tells me where that doc is. So it's in just my Drive, and this is the title of it in my Drive. So once the OCR is done, I add OCR to that title somewhere so that I know I've already run this document through Cami and it's already OCR'd. So it's not making a copy of this document in my Drive, it's just taking that original document and making it OCR. So now that it's done, I would just go into the title and somewhere in the title, put OCR, so that I remember that one's already done.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. If you are not using the Canvas integration and you're just using Cami for like building your own PDFs, you can open up a new Google page and then just click the Cami extension, which all of you, it's been pushed out to all of you. And this is where you could open a doc from your Drive as well. That's maybe an easier way than right clicking, but you can also here create a new blank page. So I could click new blank page. I have some options of types of pages I can make. So there's music sheet, a grid page, a lined paper, or just a blank page. So if I create a lined paper, this is where you could create a PDF from scratch. So if you wanted to add your own things to it, you could do that. So you could use the same tools here to add some directions. Oops. to an assignment for students. And then I would save it to my drive. So it's a brand new document, so you have to decide where it goes. One other thing we found recently is that Kami is also really useful for students filling out fillable PDFs. So Chromebooks don't have a program that allow for fillable PDFs. So if you are ever in a position where you're sharing documents that you want students to fill out that are already fillable PDFs, they can open it with Kami. They just have to click in the box to fill it, and they can just fill in those boxes that are already created. So for counselors, this was really useful. So I will tell you, Chris, back to your original question, are we gonna fund this next year? I think the more people that are using it and the more that it's a widely used tool in all content areas and departments, the more it will anger people for it to go away, and the district doesn't want people to be angry. Because I really get the anger most directed at our team, right? Because we're the ones promoting these resources, so yeah. Are there other questions?
So my question, and I don't know if Kami is this kind of tool or not, but when you highlight something, it doesn't put it in any kind of notebook or anything, like if you're doing research and you wanted to go back to it. That's not the purpose, right?
So it does kind of. So let me find one. Let's see, I have to open it as a, here we go. So if I highlighted like on this document a couple times. So anything that I annotate, anything that I change, I can download those annotations, and I can do an annotation only export. So it's only going to gather the things that I annotated. And let me just change this to annotations. And I'm going to download it to my drive and export it. And let's just take a look. I was just watching the webinar from the CEO of Kami is from New Zealand, and they did a Canvas Kami integration webinar. So I was watching that, and he mentioned that this is a really useful tool for social studies teachers, is what he said. So for gathering those annotations. I know that Read and Write for Google does that, so that is also a useful tool for it. But let's just see what it looks like. Yeah, so it takes the text that I highlighted and the color and tells me what was highlighted. So that is a tool. I haven't played with it that much though to really know what it's capable of doing.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Stacey. Any other questions? If you've never used Kami before, what I would suggest doing is to click on the extension here and then start with just a blank page, or open up a PDF that you already have in your drive and just play with the toolbar over here. It's pretty straightforward, and we have, let's see, on our staff resource site, if you click on elementary or the secondary page, and then you scroll down to Kami and click on the title. This is our Kami resource site. I am the only one that's updating this right now, so if you see something that's missing and you want it there, let me know. But this has a whole tour of the toolbar. So it goes through each of the tools that are available to you. And then Kami does a really good job of providing some guides for it. So for each individual tool, if I clicked on drawing and shapes, it tells you all about how to use that tool and how it might be used in the classroom. So I would just play with the tools. If you have questions about how to use a specific tool, you can click on these toolbars. There's also like videos and how-to articles. So I tried to put only the most useful, and I'll put that in the chat, only the most useful tools on this page so that it's not overwhelming. But right now it's mostly about converting text from PDFs to OCR. And then right now for Kami and Canvas, all we have is this teacher guide that's a PDF, because we just added this and just found out about it actually last week. So there's not a lot of resources yet for Canvas, but it's pretty straightforward, and I can put some together as well.
So Mara, you mentioned that you're going to be making a video to
Yeah.
show the students? And is this where it will go?
That's a great question also, Susan. Yes, I will put it on this page, but we just were talking about this this morning also, that we have two sites. We have the staff site and the family site. And the reason that these are not part of the district website and they're just linked on the district website is because editing access is hard to get for the district website and it's not instantaneous. So we wanted to be able to update these as fast as we could to get stuff out for teachers. So the family site right now has a tech support page, and this is just mostly troubleshooting for their Chromebooks. And so I recommended we make a page for specific resources that we've created, tutorials for students. So how to get into a Pear Deck, how to join a Zoom call, those types of things. We have that page created. It's just hidden right now because people were updating it this morning. So we are gonna get that updated on the on the family resource site by the end of the week, and have that sent out as communication to teachers in an email. So it will be on the Canvas page for the staff site. You are welcome to share that video with students from there, but we're also trying to think about how can families best access these tools all in one place as well.